The following video is part of a special week celebrating the release of Zack Snyder's Justice League. Subscribe if you'd like to keep up with everything, and drop a like if you tolerate me. Superheroes rarely get the chance to star in their own games, and that's a damn shame. If your name isn't Batman or Spider-Man, odds are you're either stuck in the bin of mediocrity, or you only get to play around in team-up games like Injustice, the LEGO titles, or that one game that makes you grind for better Hulk bones. The Flash is almost no exception. He's my favorite superhero, specifically the Jay Garrick Flash, and while plenty of games have played around with super speed these days, the Scarlet Speedster himself has just never been given his chance to shine front and center in a proper AAA title. So, where is a guy like me to turn for my Flash fix? Well, you've got to check out this incredible handheld game. Raid Shadow Legend, how the fuck did that get in here? Sorry, you've got to check out this incredible handheld game, Justice League Heroes: The Flash. Released back on the Game Boy Advance in 2006, this title was a sister game to, get this, Justice League Heroes. Conveniently, it's enough of a Justice League game to tie into my Justice League week, but also centrally a Flash game, which feels timely as the TV series has just started its new season earlier this month. JLH The Flash is a beat-em-up, and while I'm not always a big fan of the genre, the super speed twists to gameplay make it immediately much more up my alley. On top of your basic punch dudes in the face button, there are two primary speedster components to gameplay. The other attack button does a speed dash over to another enemy, and the right shoulder button puts the game in a bullet time mode, where Flash has a few moments to move faster than the enemies around can comprehend, for a few extra hits. This mode does have a limited speed force meter at the top corner of the screen, so you do have to save it for strategic moments. You also unlock a few additional moves as you play through, like a ground pound and a circle charge, as well as a jump kick from pressing both attack buttons at once. But these are just situational enough, and honestly, just finicky enough, that you typically won't need to use them in the same way as the basic moves. Our final button for those people keeping track is a Justice League member button on the left shoulder. A quick press summons an ally to dish out damage to enemies on the screen around you. The box art even goes so far as to show the heroes we get to summon into battle. Superman, Wonder Woman, Martian Manhunter, Green Arrow, and Black Canary, not Batman. He appears in 2 whole cutscenes. That's it. You lied to me, Bruce. The gameplay honestly works pretty well, though not without some hiccups. The forced perspective imitating a 3D world does cause some problems with hit detection. You will sometimes dash and get caught on the corner of something that looks like it shouldn't block you, and other times you're punching whiffs because the angle doesn't line up quite as pixel perfect as it needs. It's not game breaking, but as the biggest flaw in the game, it is worth mentioning. This is not to mention how obviously the illusion breaks the moment you start trying to run against a barrier. One time, in testing out the game prior to recording for the main story footage, I somehow clipped past an invisible wall into the brightly colored background meant only for the developers to see. Sometimes you just gotta get lost in the pink, boys. Still, all that is worth it for just how good the game's design is. Wally West, who was the Flash at the time the game came out, ends up running from city to city stopping various supervillain attacks, and not only do the cities all look and feel distinct, but there's even a large variety of enemies who all operate with unique attacks, strengths, and weaknesses. For example, you run into Gotham for the first time, and you immediately start seeing thugs in red and pink top hats and suits who attack with giant mallets. It is the most Gotham City shit you will ever see. This is a fairly short game, but it still goes the extra mile of making everything varied. I've honestly played games 4 times as long, with far less variety than we get here. Special props to the developers on this one. There's even a secret enemy, one of Flash's villains, who is in this game that you could even go the whole time without seeing. If you activate the Speed Force right as Flash is starting his death animation, instead of dying, the Black Flash will actually show up. If you don't know, the Black Flash is a Grim Reaper for speedsters who shows up only to drag dying speedsters into the Speed Force so they can be absorbed back into it. Beating him up will grant you back a sliver of your health to try and survive further. This attention to detail would be cool in a full console game, especially so in a GBA title. There is a massive flaw in the design that needs to be called out though. The cutscenes are absolute gorilla crap. Frequently, and the literal first time we see him, the Flash looks like he's starting to pull a number 177 before our very eyes, And dear God, was the artist horny. Considering WayForward's most prominent franchise is Shantae, I shouldn't be surprised, but every woman in the cutscenes is spilling out of their tops so hard I can only blame their rapidly shrinking waistlines squeezing their insides up to their mammaries like a tube of toothpaste drawn by a DeviantArt weirdo. Wonder Woman is the most egregious considering the cutscene artist got her costume wrong and leaves the midriff out, something that does not happen in gameplay. This kind of thing is so bad, I almost don't notice how weird Wally's face is during said cutscenes. Almost. Dear God, it's like Flash is stealing Martian Manhunter's skull matter for his own devious purposes. Unrelated, and yet somehow related, the gorillas in this game are uncomfortably thick. So we start off with Flash in his hometown of Keystone, fending off an invasion of dangerous robots and dudes in t-shirts. Gorilla Grodd is our first boss fight, and we get the nice detail of punching his mind control helmet off of him as the fight starts. It's a cool fight, pretty straightforward. He tries to slap you around, throw some benches at you, stays in the air an uncomfortable amount of time as he tries to land on you, and climbs the walls to... oh god damn it. Next, we're off to Gotham, where the fabulous dudes are rioting, and there are occasional frozen things as you work your way into Arkham Asylum. Frozen things? Arkham Asylum? I guess this can only mean Mr. Freeze! Nah, the artist couldn't draw some Hugongus Gazonkers on Mr. Freeze, it's Killer Frost. She has this one move where she freezes your feet, and I am no good at dodging it, but all in all, still not too bad. It's a cool and varied fight. Then we get to Themyscira. Jesus fucking Christ, Themyscira. They put the hardest fucking level in the middle of the game. When I first played this game a few years back and didn't know what I was in for, Themyscira kicked my goddamn asshole. Enemies are so much tougher, health and energy pickups are few and far in between, and I don't think the level was properly playtested, to be honest. I was ready for it this time and scraped by without a game over until the boss, which took me like 7 tries even though I knew what I was doing. Circe's boss fight is the hardest in the game, if you couldn't guess. Her magic blasts move insanely fast, which is bullshit because I am the speedster here. She tanks so much damage before she moves to a new stage of her attacks, so you have ample time to make a mistake during the easier first part, losing precious health that you will need later on. Her second stage of attacks have 4 invincible guards that run around, whittling down at your health and making it nigh impossible to dash to Circe herself. And when she finally gets frustrated and destroys them, she starts summoning massive fucking fireballs that take away 50% of your health bar on hit. You legitimately have to save all of your Justice League attacks and your slow-mo for stages 2 and 3 respectively if you even want to make it. I played on normal difficulty, for the record. Fuck Circe. It's worth it to get past her though, because we get my favorite level in the game next. Zoom, who was Wally's Reverse Flash, has halfway sunken a city to get your attention. You have to use super speed to get across the water, or you fall in with a big splash. There are even enemy types with water shields that can make new shields by taking a dip if you don't destroy them fast enough. It actually feels like it was built around the concept of the level, which is nice. Zoom's fight is cool. You start off chasing him down across the water, dodging obstacles as you go. It's not always easy to move in time, but it's much more forgiving than the last level, so I let it slide. Part 2 is attempting to loop around behind Zoom to do a dash punch, again, from behind, and all the while, he's trying to do the same to you. Finally, you hit solid ground, and the fight is a matter of balancing back and forth between when you need to use super speed and when not to. Zoom can properly block your attacks in both modes at times, even countering with his own attacks, so it feels much more like a proper duel than we get anywhere else in the game. He is still surprisingly vulnerable to a guy with pointy sticks though, kind of like the TV show.
Nanites, courtesy of Ray Palmer.
Finally, working through Metropolis, you have to fight an assortment of every type of enemy in the game, while also adding Brainiac robots that make me sexually uncomfortable. It's a cool level, although a couple of places I noticed gaps in the background, leaving the developer backdrop visible. Bruh, your pink is showing. Once at Brainiac's ship, you have to destroy his turret, then destroy his door to get inside. He has a bomb set to destroy Metropolis in 2 minutes, so you have to beat him quickly by destroying the elements around his ship before he can fix them because it makes him vulnerable. And eventually he puts up laser walls you have to use slow-mo to pass through. It sounds like the perfect, epic climax when I put it this way, but honestly I always just cheese it by spamming Justice League attacks to end it prematurely. They destroy everything and damage him to boot. Following that, there's a final cutscene where Darkseid is summoned by Brainiac's machines or something or another, but you don't actually get to experience any of that unless you play the main version of the game. Bummer. There are a few extras you can access in the main menu. There's a Superman race where you go toe-to-toe with the Man of Steel to see who can destroy the remaining robots for the title of Fastest Man Alive. There's a Boss Rush mode, which I never play, purely because of Circe, and there's even a relatively detailed making of cutscene, which is honestly just a cool touch more games need to include. So yeah, that's Justice League Heroes, The Flash. Even with its fairly noticeable flaws, I just can't help but love this charming little game. I highly recommend grabbing it if you ever see it out in the wild. Like I did with Altair's Chronicles a while back, the full gameplay is going to be available here on my channel if you want to check it out in action. You can even use that footage for your own videos, so long as you include credit and a link back to my video. Anyway, thank you for watching everyone, stay tuned for more, and stay safe out there.